This Christmas, Christ is a prisoner in Bethlehem. Quite literally, a prisoner in Bethlehem. The first church in Bethlehem was built in the year 330, the Church of the Nativity, only a decade after the Emperor Constantine had legitimized Christianity. And over the centuries, that church has been destroyed and rebuilt time and time again. But today there are a number of Christian churches in Bethlehem, which ordinarily is a thriving metropolis. Only 12% of the inhabitants of Bethlehem are Christian. The other 88% are Muslim. Bethlehem is only 5 miles from Jerusalem. So roughly from here to Bloomingburg, from here to Rock Hill. And yet, Jerusalem and Bethlehem are in 2 different countries. Jerusalem is in Israel, and Bethlehem is in Palestine. So there will be no Christmas this year in Bethlehem because the churches are closed. The Christian people are huddling inside those locked doors, or opening them only to let in refugees, or to feed the hungry with the meager stores of food they have left, or to bandage up the wounded with whatever cloths they have left. I'm betting that if Pope Francis were well enough to travel to the Near East and walk the dividing line between these 2 beleaguered countries, he'd be shot dead within 30 seconds. The Israeli government does not like the Vatican because the Vatican has insisted for centuries that Jerusalem must be an open city, available all the time to Christians, Jews, and Muslims alike, and that the Palestinians deserve a homeland. The Palestinians despise the Vatican because it symbolizes the anti-Muslim persecutions that went on for centuries in Europe and North Africa. It is a fraught situation. But on an average Christmas, Jesus is also, figuratively speaking, a prisoner of Bethlehem because of our culture and our customs and our literature. I look through my Christmas cards. I have 2 Christmas cards that actually have Jesus and Mary in a stable in the snow. Now, it does snow from time to time in the mountains outside of Jerusalem, where Bethlehem is located, but their winters are milder than ours. However, our celebration of Christmas is guided by Northern European customs. All the things we do to decorate our homes, all the pictures we draw, are based on that experience of Christmas in England, in France, in Germany, even in Italy. And the culture of Christmas in Catholicism is a European culture. Christianity is a worldwide religion, so is Catholicism within Christianity. Asia, Africa, South America, Australia, all celebrate Christmas. But the way we decorate for Christmas, the way we celebrate Christmas, is based on our own European ancestry. It's even true of the way we celebrate our liturgy. And so from one point of view, you could say that Christ is imprisoned in the Bethlehem of our fantasy. That's why I ask you to listen very carefully to the one doctrinal proclamation that is found in the second reading. It comes right away after the greeting. A reading of the letter of St. Paul to Titus. And this is how it begins. The grace of God appeared, saving all. The grace of God appeared, saving all. Most of the time, when we are taught about the salvation that Christ came to win for us, it is based on the crucifixion. Not simply on his death, but on his horrible death on the cross. That's the way we imagine it almost all the time. But what Paul is saying in this letter is that grace came to us not by the crucifixion of Jesus, but by his birth. There is a position in Christianity that is very ancient that says all that was needed for our salvation was for Jesus to become a man. It appears after this letter of St. Paul in the writings of Irenaeus. St. Irenaeus comes from the 2nd century of Christianity, before the great Augustine, before the even greater Thomas Aquinas, before Anselm, before Luther, before Calvin, before Zwingli. Before any of them was Irenaeus, who said that our salvation comes through Jesus becoming a man, through the birth of Jesus. That's all that was required. It's not the majority opinion, but the church has never rejected this minority opinion as equally true. And notice what Paul says. The grace of God appeared, saving all. Not just Catholics, not just Christians, not just churchy people, not just believers, saving everybody. You know, there's a popular Christian hymn we sing all the time at Christmas time that captures that truth. It's O Holy Night, where at one point we use the phrase, and the soul felt its worth. And the soul felt its worth. We could not, as human beings, completely feel our worth until God decided to become one of us. That made our worth beyond calculation. Up until then, it's a limited worth. But now that God is one of us, the Slav like one of us, our worth is incalculable. But there are things that keep us from, so to speak, feeling our worth. Sometimes people cause us not to feel our worth by abuse and criticism and hatred and meanness and cruelty and violence and greed and lust. People make us feel unworthy. Sometimes we make ourselves feel unworthy. We can't feel our worth because of the things that we've done wrong. Or perhaps simply because of the way we feel. Our emotional disturbances, our addictions, do not allow us to feel our worth. And there's other stuff too that nobody's to blame for. that prevents us from feeling our worth. Illness and poverty and loneliness, all those things prevent us from feeling our worth. So this Christmas, give some thought to what might be preventing you from feeling your worth. And then remember what Paul wrote to Titus. The grace of God appeared, saving all of us, allowing us once more to feel our worth. Me and you, and all of us together. Now please stand.